Category. Everyone who had been going wild hugging Kang Woojin abruptly froze. Huh? Did they just say director on Ga Bak? No way. Director on Ga Bak got nominated for Best Director. This is seriously insane. It's a double celebration. The excitement returned instantly. Even Kang Woojin, who had regained his composure, was surprised on the inside. Oh, even director Nim too. In other words, Pierrot had now been nominated not only for Best Costume Design, but also for Best Actor and Best Director. It was a jackpot. Of course, that indicated just how high the quality of Pierrot was. But considering that the entire process of its challenge had been anything but ordinary, this held great meaning. Not just one, but 3 categories. Honestly, even getting nominated in one would have been a huge success for Pierrot, so this was nothing short of a feast. This is the best scenario possible. Choi Sung-gun and the dozens of others were genuinely happy, as if it were their own accomplishment. Miley Kara, who was clinging to Woojin, felt the same. But that wasn't the end. We're already at the final announcement. I'm getting nervous myself. As everyone knows, the final category is the Best Picture, which determines the greatest work at the Academy Awards. The grand finale, the most prestigious category of the Academy Awards, Best Picture. After several films were named, once again, wow, this film has truly become the hottest of this year's Academy Awards. Congratulations, the final nominee is Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain was called. Kang Woojin screamed internally. Seriously? Because Pierrot had now been confirmed as a nominee in 4 categories. At that same moment, the official Academy Awards nomination announcement, broadcast live worldwide, sent countless places into frenzy, not just Kang Woojin's home. First and foremost among them was Columbia Studios, who had wished more than anyone for the success of Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. It happened. It really happened. Is this even real? For categories. Seriously, 4? Ha. Haven't you seen how far we've come? Yes, it's true. We've been nominated in 4 categories. Director, congratulations. We all deserve congratulations. Even Best Actor was surprising, but to be nominated for both Best Director and Best Picture on top of that. This is a miracle. What are you saying? Of course it was worth it. That's why it happened. Their cheers, which had started the moment they heard about the Best Costume Design nomination, grew to roars during Woojin's Best Actor call, and now, they were practically losing their minds. Executives and staff from Columbia Studios, and even Nora Foster, couldn't contain their explosive excitement. The only one who remained relatively composed was, I'm nominated for Best Director at the Oscars? It was director On Jae-bak, his wrinkled face showing disbelief, but also a strong sense of wonder that things he once imagined had become reality. If I hadn't given Pierrot to Kang Woojin back then, if that guy hadn't played Joker, this scene wouldn't be happening right now. The moment director On Jae-bak first saw the character Joker, the face that came to mind was Kang Woojin. On top of that, he factored in Woojin's relentless ambition toward the Academy Awards. There had been many stages to reach this point, but in the end, I should say Kang Woojin made it all happen. It felt like Kang Woojin had Kang Woojined again. His Joker performance had illuminated the direction, completing Pierrot. Then, director On Jae-bak looked around. He saw a bunch of half-crazed foreigners. These were all Hollywood powerhouses, but right now, they were celebrating like children. A monster who turned giants into kids. Me included. It was the tale of a monstrous genius actor. After that, the miracle created by Pierrot quickly spread from Hollywood to the entire world. Many were thrilled. Not only Columbia Studios, but also World Disney Pictures, Universal Movies, the 5 major studios of Hollywood, and even guests, A8 Media, and every other production company in Hollywood were abuzz. And that wasn't all, including Chris Hartnett. Goodness, what the hell? What's happening right now? Countless actors, too, couldn't help but be stunned by the miracle that had just exploded. The official announcement of the Academy Awards nominees quickly dominated media outlets across the globe. CNN/A miracle. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, nominated in 4 categories at the Academy Awards. ABY/the most shocking announcement in Academy Awards history. Kang Woojin nominated for Best Actor. Pierrot lands 4 nominations. BBX/Kang Woojin becomes the first Korean actor ever nominated for the Oscars Best Actor award. LA Times/incredible results. Pierrot, the birth of a villain nominated for costume design, Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture. And how did the global public react? Did I see that right? Pierrot is nominated in 4 categories? Oh my god. No way. This must be proof that Hollywood is changing. As someone who watched Pierrot, the results make total sense to me. Kang Woojin. He's done it now? I honestly think it's more than fair that Kang Woojin was nominated. His Joker was spine-chillingly good. This year's Academy Awards feels like it's about to flip the world on its head. Does this mean Colombia's cinematic universe is a huge success? Lies. There must be some mistake with the voting. Kang Woojin being nominated for Best Actor is just absurd. Get a grip. The only thing absurd is your brain. Congratulations, Kang Woojin. I've been cheering for you since Beneficial Evil. Wait, is Kang Woojin really going to lift the Best Actor trophy? It was blowing up. The world's biggest online communities were overflowing with posts about the Academy Awards, Pierrot, and Kang Woojin. Social media and YouTube were likewise flooded with related content. And in Korea, hometown of Pierrot's lead Kang Woojin and director On Jae-bak. Breaking news, Pierrot secures 4 final nominations at the Academy Awards. Kang Woojin and director On Jae-bak headed to the Oscars, celebrate 4 category nomination feat. Pierrot crazy. Kang Woojin nominated for Oscars Best Actor award. The entire nation was shaking. Pierrot lands 4 Academy Awards nominations. Kang Woojin and director On Jae-bak to make history as first Koreans at the Oscars. Star Talk. Next target. The Academy Awards. Kang Woojin makes it happen. Public calls him Korea's treasure for keeping his promise. Kang Woojin had pulled off yet another miracle. Of course, all he had done was secure a ticket so far, but it was more than enough to send the entire country into a frenzy. I'm screaming and peeing my pants. What made the national excitement look tame was the insane level of hype from Woojin's family and everyone who had ever crossed paths with him. The emotional explosion was like a nuclear bomb and lasted for at least a week, not only in Korea, but across the US and the entire world, including Hollywood. The media poured out daily reports about the Academy Awards and Kang Woojin, while public anticipation grew higher with each passing day. It was, almost certainly, the highest level of global enthusiasm in Academy Awards history. And as April 24th, the opening day, drew nearer, the atmosphere intensified even further. The tremors in Woojin's chest, though he played it cool while filming John Persona, grew stronger by the minute. Ugh, fuck. Time's flying so fast. Only 5 days left till the opening. And just like that, April 20th arrived. From early morning, crowds were already forming in front of the massive venue in LA. Reporters, broadcasting crews, and camera teams swarmed the area, capturing the entrance of the grand venue. Judging by the variety of languages, it was clear they had come from all over the world. Naturally, there were also plenty of Korean reporters. This was the Dolby Theater, the venue where the Academy Awards are held every year. What the press was capturing was everything in preparation for the Academy Awards, from the trophy statues being set up, to banners and billboards, and more. Given that this year's Academy Awards were receiving more attention than any year before, it was an expected scene. At that moment, hey, they've started laying it down over there. No way. Let's go. A few reporters, having spotted something near the entrance of the Dolby Theater, began to run. That rush quickly spread to other journalists and broadcast crews. Soon, the entire media crowd was gathered in front of the Dolby Theater, shoving their cameras forward. The reason was simple. Swish. Dozens of Academy Awards officials had begun laying out the symbol of the ceremony, starting from the entrance steps. World topic. The Academy rolls out the red carpet. Come in, Pierrot. It was the very red carpet of the Academy Awards that Kang Woojin would soon walk on. Monday morning, April 24th, LA. As always, Monday marked the start of the work week. But today, Hollywood was different. The entire industry, broadcasting, film studios, production companies, was unusually stirred. Major media outlets were frantically blasting out similar headlines. Why? LA Times/Oscar opening day. Hollywood burns hotter than ever before. BBX/all hotels near Dolby Theater fully booked. Airports experiencing extreme congestion. ABY/top actors from around the world arriving in Hollywood for the Academy Awards/photos. Because this afternoon, the much-anticipated Academy Awards would finally open. NT/today's Academy Awards ceremony to be streamed live at New York's iconic Times Square Plaza. Everyone was bustling, especially Columbia Studios, one of Hollywood's 5 major film companies. Did you confirm the schedule with the actors? Yes. We checked more than twice. Why can't we reach the on-site team? What's the situation at the Dolby Theater? Since Pierrot, the miracle film, was involved, there were endless things to handle and confirm. Honestly, all of Hollywood was in a state of chaos. News agencies and broadcast stations were flocking to Dolby Theater to secure the best spots, while invited actors, directors, and officials checked and rechecked their outfits. At the LA airport, media personnel and celebrities from all over the world were arriving nonstop. Online spaces were just as loud as reality. When does the Academy Awards live stream actually start? I heard it's 6 o'clock. Are you sure? Because the red carpet event starts at 6? Where can we watch the live stream? YouTube? YouTube and the network that signed a deal with the Academy. Which broadcaster is it? If you've got time, go to Times Square. The Oscars announced it'll be live there too. And Kang Woojin? Who is it really today? Wait, shit, I'm seriously nervous. Surprisingly, he was still at home, lying in bed staring at the ceiling. Judging by his messy hair, it hadn't been long since he woke up. In this unfiltered, raw state, he was trying to calm his pounding heart. But it wasn't working. Just a few hours remained until the opening of the Academy Awards. Who in their right mind could stay calm? This was his first time experiencing such an event, and more importantly, the world's spotlight was focused on him. So it wasn't strange at all. That Woojin's heart was racing uncontrollably. Regardless. Swish. Kang Woojin, hair still a mess, slowly got out of bed. Then he stood in front of the bathroom mirror. He washed his face. The trembling persisted. With no other choice, Kang Woojin decided to pause time. Poke. He entered the void space. Standing in the endlessly dark void, Kang Woojin let out a long breath. Oddly enough, breathing in this space, detached from reality, seemed to calm him down a little. Well, whatever. All I need to do is walk the red carpet, sit there for a while, and come back. Let's not expect anything. With that, Kang Woojin quickly exited the void space. He picked up his phone. An overwhelming number of missed messages and calls had piled up, enough to make checking them terrifying. Without hesitation, Woojin dialed a number. It was his family. Son, are you okay? Kang Woojin gave a short laugh and answered briefly to his parents on the other end of the line. No, just, I'll do well and come back. Described as grand. Lights of all kinds beamed from the Dolby Theater. Gigantic statues and installations, billboards and screens were placed everywhere. The excitement was at its peak. The crowd was literally going wild. From the steps at the entrance of the Dolby Theater to far beyond, everything was covered in the red carpet, and iron fences set up around it were tightly packed with well over several thousand people. All were dressed in tuxedos. They were reporters and press personnel aside from the broadcasting teams. Of course, the number of spectators surrounding them was even larger. And then the red carpet. How to put it? Rather than saying the red carpet was laid out, it gave the illusion that the floor had been red from the beginning. That was how vast and massive the red carpeted area was. On top of that, wow, they even brought in cranes? Was that here last year too? No, they weren't. I can't believe they brought something that big for the entrance ceremony. Beyond just the massive camera gear used by reporters or broadcasting stations, there were also cranes and other filming equipment that one would expect to see only on a movie set. Is this a red carpet event or a filming set? As a result, comments like, "Is this a giant filming location?" popped up among the hundreds of reporters. The scale truly was jaw-dropping, and while the Academy Awards happen every year, today's atmosphere felt different. And slowly, actors started to enter the red carpet. As Hollywood's top actors appeared in tuxedos and dresses, cameras quickly got busy. Pabababak. Flashes burst like lightning, and the shouts from the swarm of reporters grew intensely loud. The combined noise was enough to make one's ears hurt. Meanwhile, amusing scenes unfolded. Robert, You're nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Do you think you'll win the trophy? Haha. Whatever I say, you're going to twist it into some weird article anyway. No, no, that was a mistake last time. As if. As expected, the red carpet at the Academy Awards was different from that of Korea. It was rather unrestrained, one might say. On the vast red carpet, Hollywood actors performed various antics. Some would suddenly approach reporters for casual conversations. Others danced in strange ways, or posed in quirky ways they had prepared in advance. Of course, it wasn't just the actors. Invited big-name directors and celebrities were the same. Their numbers gradually increased. As more and more stars appeared, the live broadcast being aired worldwide exploded in viewership. Though the Academy had an official live broadcast team prepared, influencers and internet streamers present at the red carpet were just as abundant. The vibe and the excitement grew with each passing. Second, around this time. Miley. There's Miley. A female actress in a dress mixed with gray and white stepped onto the red-hot red carpet. It was Miley Cara, her flowing blonde hair shimmering. She wasn't a nominee today, but was invited as a guest. Miley. Hey, Miley. This way. Look this way, Miley. Miley, weren't you coming with Kang Woojin? The excitement of thousands of press members soared. After all, Miley Cara was the hottest actress in Hollywood this year. She waved briefly at the reporters when someone called out to her from behind. Turning around, she saw a male actor walking toward her. He had once competed with Kang Woojin for the role of the Beast. Cara gave a faint smile. What? Are you trying to steal my spotlight? Haha, Miley. Why are you picking a fight the moment you see me? I just said hi because I was happy to see you. Really? Nice to see you too. But could you take a step back? I'd feel bad if weird articles come out and he sees them. Kang Woojin. Miley, aren't you a bit too into him? Never seen you like this before. Shut up. Though they bickered, they both greeted the reporters as if nothing happened. Naturally, the press focused their attention on the two, flashes bursting around them. After Cara had walked about halfway down the red carpet. The male actor suddenly tilted his head in confusion. The movement among the thousands, maybe even 10,000, spectators lining. Both sides wasn't normal. Something was surging and moving toward the entrance of the red carpet. The once nonstop flashes had significantly decreased. In response, Miley Cara and the male actor turned around. Cara smiled contentedly. The male actor let out a small sigh and muttered, well then, the supporting actor should step aside. The protagonist has arrived. At the very entrance of the red carpet where they were looking. Kang Woojin. Kang Woojin. Whoa, it's really Kang Woojin. Hey Woojin. A wave please. Look this way and wave. Kaya. Kang Woojin's here. Where? Where is he? There. Over there. Move. Kang Woojin. Everyone was going crazy with excitement because Kang Woojin had arrived. But unlike the thousands of frenzied reporters screaming and spitting as they shouted, Woojin was expressionless. However, his inner thoughts were a complete 180. Ugh, I feel like throwing up. So dizzy. My ears are bursting. Should I bolt? Too much? Screw it. Just focus on the concept and walking. The red carpet was no joke. It was like walking on thin ice. Sleekly combed back black hair, all black tuxedo, polished dress shoes. Today he was just the pure Kang Woojin, no performances or events, but he was more tense than ever. And Kang Woojin wasn't alone. Right beside him in a white tuxedo was Chris Hartnett, and to his right stood director Ahn Jae-bok in a regular suit. Around them gathered the actors and key staff from the PRO shoot. In short, the PRO, the birth of a villain team. Kang Woojin, give us a Joker smile. With their appearance, all the press and live broadcast teams rushed toward them. No matter what anyone said, they were the hottest team at this year's Academy Awards. Then Chris, smiling and waving, spoke to Kang Woojin. Woojin, go ahead first. The Joker has to lead. Woojin, who was looking at him blankly, responded inwardly. What the hell are you saying? You're the insanely good-looking one. You should go first. I feel like I'm going to trip and die. But unable to reveal this inner panic, Woojin took a heavy step forward. All right, let's go. Kang Woojin conquered the red carpet of the Academy Awards. About an hour later, inside the Dolby Theater. The interior of the Dolby Theater, where the Academy Awards was being held, was nothing short of magnificent. The ceiling rose to a 4-story height. Lights were installed everywhere. Close to 10,000 seats were arranged, and in those seats sat tremendously famous actors, directors, or film figures. The front stage was especially dazzling. The stage where the Academy Award trophy statue stood tall was vast, and the many monitors surrounding it added to the grandeur. Various rounded structures that made up the entire stage were all marked with the Academy Awards logo. In front of the stage were filled with broadcast teams and staff. Truly a scale befitting the Academy Awards, the dream of every filmmaker. The gathering of such star-studded individuals was just as spectacular. These were the ones who dominated the global film industry, including Hollywood. If you added up their appearance fees, how much would that even be? A dizzying amount, surely? These were the thoughts running through Kang Woojin's head. Wow. Shit, those lights are freaking amazing. Are they meant to represent the trophy? How much money do you have to pour in to get a stage with that level of quality? He was seated on the first floor, close to the stage. I'm really sitting here, at the Academy Awards. Isn't this the glory of a lifetime? I'm dying to take a damn photo right now. Though the desire to take a commemorative shot was overwhelming, he had to solemnly hold it in. From earlier, no, from the moment Kang Woojin entered the hall, everyone had been stealing glances at him. The broadcast cameras often focused on him. It felt like CCTV was watching from every direction. Thus, Kang Woojin did nothing but maintain his concept, silently staring at the front stage without a word or action. Around this point, Chris Hartnett, sitting beside him, spoke. Woojin, you've entered the Academy Awards that you openly declared, but you don't look happy at all. I'm crazy happy right now, you handsome guy. But Kang Woojin gave a cold answer that was completely different from what he felt inside. It's not as impressive as I thought. Not impressive? Saying that after coming here is quite the shock. Director Ahn Jae-bok chimed in. He was like this at Korean Awards, Cannes, even the Emmy Awards. Probably just sees the Academy Awards as one of many ceremonies. Isn't that right? It's similar. Or maybe he was already sure he'd be sitting here. Chris clapped his hands as if he realized something. That's it. Yeah, Woojin, you declared this back in Cannes. If you were certain since then, it'd be strange to get all hyped now. Soon, the other PRO team members nodded in agreement. As the misconception about him spread, Kang Woojin internally screamed, "No, that's not it." Cheerful classical music burst through the vast hall. At the same time, a man-shaped trophy statue stood on the center stage. Swish. A man in a tuxedo walked on alone. Holding cue cards, he was a famous MC and comedian, serving as today's Academy Awards host. Standing at the spot with a standing microphone, the host greeted everyone. Hello, hello. Despite nearly 10,000 influential figures sitting in the audience, he showed no nerves and began his lines. Before we start, how about a little chat? True to the Academy Awards' reputation for free-spirited hosting, the MC started with some casual talk. This year's Academy Awards, let's be real, PRO was the hottest, right? Kang Woojin's here, isn't he? Kang Woojin, where are you now? Woojin. Suddenly, the spotlight and camera angle all turned to Kang Woojin in the audience. Naturally, so did every audience member's gaze. The host gave Woojin a thumbs up. Phew, Joker. That was amazing. Once that movie hits worldwide release, it's gonna blow up. The beginning of the Academy Awards, attended by the world's greatest film figures. I've really become your fan. When's the sequel coming out? When's the next one? Started with the monster, Kang Woojin. How much time had passed? While it was afternoon in LA, it was lunchtime in Korea, and many places were showing the live broadcast of the Academy Awards. People on subways and buses, in cafes, anywhere crowds gathered, watched on their phones, or on TVs in various stores. Among them was a large two-story samgyeopsal restaurant in the middle of Gangnam, crowded with customers during lunch. The large TV installed there was also broadcasting the Academy Awards live. The store owner must have turned it on, given the recent buzz around the event. Thus, the attention of many diners turned to the TV. Whoa, Kang Woojin is right there among those insane stars. That's seriously crazy. Not just crazy, Kang Woojin is a living legend. But seeing him there makes me feel that national pride. Remember when those Hollywood top stars kept mentioning Kang Woojin? That was insane. It really made my shoulders rise. But isn't it kind of too much to hope he wins Best Actor? Just being nominated is already huge, right? Winning Best Actor, honestly, it might be tough. I heard there's subtle discrimination in the Academy. They chattered away while focusing on the awards ceremony. Everyone's mouths were filled with samgyeopsal, and what they were saying was all about Kang Woojin. I'm nervous. Why am I the one nervous? Doesn't it kind of feel like watching the World Cup? Facts. I really hope Kang Woojin wins. From what I saw in the article comments, the chances of Woojin winning are low. They say the other nominees are Hollywood legends. But honestly, I can't quite picture him winning either. It'd be tough, right? I feel like they'd score him lower just because he's a Korean actor. Here were Kang Woojin's best friends, Kim Dae-young, Lee Kyung-sung, and Na Hyun-gu. Phew, what are they all yammering about like they know anything? Hey, I have to pee again. Ugh, I'm going crazy. Kim Dae-young, don't you know anything? You work at Woojin's agency, so you must have some insider info, right? Are you nuts? Even the companies stopped everything just to watch this. How would I know anything? Wait. Everyone shut up. Isn't it time for Best Actor? The Best Actress just ended, right? On the TV, a Hollywood actor and actress were now standing side by side, announcing the time had come for the Best Actor award. I think we should stop chatting and get to the announcement now. Right. But Daisy, I'm too nervous to read it. You do it instead. Look, my hands are shaking. Sigh, all right. I'll do it. The female actor received the cue card. Behind her, the large screen displayed 5 segments, each showing the nominated actors. At the very end stood Kang Woojin, someone everyone in this samgyeopsal restaurant knew. Soon, the restaurant became excessively loud. Kang Woojin. Let it be Kang Woojin. Yes, please, Kang Woojin. If Kang Woojin wins, dinner's on me. Woo. On the TV, the female actor looked at the paper she pulled from the envelope, her eyes widening. Then, she turned to the audience of giants and gave a sudden smile. Wow. The Best Actor at the 95th Academy Awards goes to. Meanwhile, in New York, at Times Square, where hundreds of thousands were currently packed, and several million from all over the world passed through each day. Known as the place in New York that never goes dark, the square was glittering brightly despite the dimming sky. It was due to the massive electronic billboards and advertisements plastered all over the forest of buildings. It felt like a world of its own. And even now, Times Square was bustling with hundreds of thousands of people. From one end of the long street to the other, it was filled with heads. Given it was a globally renowned tourist destination, all kinds of languages filled the air. It felt as if the entire world population had gathered here. At the center of Times Square, on the largest screen attached to a gray building. Wow. The Best Actor at the 95th Academy Awards goes to. The live feed of the Academy Awards in LA was being displayed, and tens of thousands of people had stopped walking, their eyes turned upward. I like Kang Woojin, but the other nominees are really tough. I guess we'll have to hope for next year. Right? I mean, look at that lineup. They're all Hollywood veteran legends. How's he supposed to beat that? Everyone was watching the Academy Awards. They were all chatting in different languages. That's Kang Woojin. Wait, the Academy Awards are happening right now. Yeah, there were tons of articles this morning. I even saw Kang Woojin in person in Japan once. Best Actor at the Academy Awards? Whoa, that's incredible. I hope he wins, but, looking at the other nominees, it'll be tough. Still, I heard Kang Woojin caused a huge stir this time. More and more people stopped walking. Even if it's tough this year, I feel like Kang Woojin could win next year, or the year after. He's already huge. Look at this crowd. I bet everyone here knows who Kang Woojin is. Let's just stay to see the announcement. Yeah. From above, it would look like the entire world was gazing up at Kang Woojin. At that moment, his name echoed through all of Times Square. From the Academy Awards broadcast, the female actor's declaration. The Academy Award for Best Actor goes to Kang Woojin of Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Congratulations. Simultaneously, tens of thousands who were watching the Academy Awards with their heads raised all opened their mouths in shock. Kang Woojin? Did they just call Kang Woojin 75? Monster 3. Before Kang Woojin's name was called out across the world. In fact, at the Academy Awards held at the Dolby Theater, the first award that Pierrot was mentioned for was Best Costume Design. Best Costume Design. Congratulations, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. It was the award that opened the curtains of the Academy Awards, and the colleagues around Kang Woojin in the Grand Hall of the Dolby Theater stood up. The key staff responsible for the costume of Joker. The moment she was called, the entire Pierrot team jumped to their feet, and the hall erupted in applause. Naturally, even the cynical Kang Woojin stood up and congratulated her. From that point on, Kang Woojin's wildly beating heart began to calm little by little. Ah, damn, I was feeling out of it. But now that we've won something, I'm feeling better. I'm finally starting to see things clearly. Until then, honestly, the tension was so high it made him feel sick. He even considered whether he should run to the restroom and throw up. But because the concept was so strong, he somehow managed to endure. Soon, the key staff who had received the Best Costume Design award ascended the stage, dressed up stylishly in a dress just for today. Meanwhile, powerful figures among the audience nearby began to share their thoughts one by one. Haha, Pierrot won an award right from the start. If that's the case, Columbia's plan was a massive success, don't you think? Of course, they had already boosted awareness with Kang Woojin and other issues. Now they're going to reap multiple times more. The other awards are uncertain, but I figured they'd get Best Costume. The Joker costume was truly sensational. Even as they said that, they glanced sideways at Kang Woojin, who was clapping while still seated. To be exact, they were recalling the performance he gave at the Emmy Awards or his portrayal of Joker in Pierrot. The costume was certainly unique, but it was Kang Woojin who truly brought it to life. Kang Woojin's acting gave life to the Joker persona. He solidified the character's identity through the costume and mood. Some of them had already seen Pierrot thanks to its early release, but many still remembered Kang Woojin's Joker from the Emmy Awards. It was an unforgettable impact. Soon, the recipient of the award stood before the standing microphone on stage, already sniffing and tearing up from the start. Sniff. Really, I was just so happy to be nominated, and now that I've actually received this award, it feels like a dream. Sniff. I love you all. Especially, I want to thank our Pierrot team. She continued her acceptance speech with difficulty, mentioning her family and colleagues, and toward the end, she suddenly brought up Kang Woojin's name. An actor Kang Woojin. I believe the only reason I could receive this award was because you portrayed Joker so brilliantly. Thank you. Applause exploded. Clap, 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 clap. The camera lighting the stage turned to the audience seat, capturing Kang Woojin. As expected, he had a blank expression while clapping with both hands. But on the inside, he was rapidly feeling embarrassed. Why me again? I didn't even do anything. The attention's on me again. He desperately hoped they would just ignore him. His mind control had already started to falter from the very beginning of the Academy Awards when the host mentioned Woojin. In any case, the key staff who now held the trophy returned to her seat, received congratulations from colleagues, and shared a brief hug with Woojin. In the back at a diagonal angle, the blonde Kara, who had been clapping with a faint smile, twitched for a moment. Kang Woojin had no way of knowing this. After that, the Academy Awards picked up pace. Following the Best Costume Design award came the art direction, cinematography, and other awards typically given to the hard-working key staff behind the scenes. In the meantime, Kang Woojin had finished his mind control. By the midpoint, Kang Woojin had begun to enjoy the event. Whoa damn, look at that guy's build. Kim Dae-young looks like a baby compared to him. Although he was nominated for Best Actor, he didn't have any special thoughts about it. He just maintained his poker face. He was practically just a spectator. The reason was simple. He wasn't expecting much anyway. Honestly, it would be a lie to say he didn't want to win, but the veteran Hollywood actors nominated alongside him were incredibly formidable. Not that he had time to watch their performances anyway. If they're called veteran actors in Hollywood, then they must be insanely good. Roughly speaking, they were probably a few levels above Sim Han-ho in Korea. And so, after the awards for the staff concluded, it was soon announced that it was now time for the actors on the dazzling stage. Best Supporting Actress. It was the turn for the Supporting Actor Awards. Regardless, director On Jae-bak, Chris Hartnett, the key staff, and the rest of the Pierrot team were grinning from ear to ear. Having won one award meant they had already achieved their goal. Even if they missed out on the other nominations, they had already secured enough buzz. Soon, Hollywood actors, both male and female, received the supporting awards, and the stage was momentarily empty. By this time, the hall, filled with colossal figures, was fired up to the limit, and another pair of male and female actors stepped onto the vast stage. At that moment, Kang Woojin instinctively sensed it. Ah, is it time for Best Actor now? Already. Damn, whatever, just keep my expression in check and sit still. It was time for Best Actor, an award that many were deeply interested in. As if confirming this, Chris Hartnett next to him whispered, "Woojin, it's your turn." "No, it's not. You handsome guy. Stop bringing back that hope I tried so hard to suppress." Kang Woojin shouted internally, but outwardly, he responded with the calmest tone in the world. "Looks like it." "Nervous?" "Not really." "Is that confidence? Or giving up?" Kang Woojin chose silence. He felt like his voice would tremble due to the resurgence of his pounding heartbeat. But to Chris, it looked quite different. Unshaken eyes. "Haha, I was the fool to even ask." To a guy full of self-confidence. At that moment, the male and female Hollywood actors in charge of presenting on stage heightened the tension. "I think it's time to stop talking and make the announcement." It meant the announcement was upon them. Before anyone knew it, the massive monitors behind the stage began displaying the faces of the nominated actors. 5 in total, and at the end was the heavy presence of Kang Woojin. In other words, the 5 nominees for the Academy Award Best Actor. The veteran actors besides Woojin exuded gravitas just by their appearance. Even Kang Woojin could feel it. Damn, what is that presence? Almost godlike. The strands of white hair on the monitors radiated heavy experience, and every wrinkle seemed to reveal a mastery beyond comprehension. Yes, those were the faces one would expect from aged titans. At this point, Kang Woojin let go of his final hope. For this year, I'll just be satisfied with being included among them. The lineup luck was terrible. In fact, Kang Woojin was the only actor in his 20s among the Best Actor nominees. In terms of experience and presence, he was lacking here. That was purely Woojin's perspective, but thousands of people gathered in the hall were thinking similarly. Not only them, viewers around the world watching the live broadcast were chatting with similar sentiments. Miley Cara, with boyfriend benefits, had a completely different inner thought. "Crush those old men. You've got this. It's not about an upset or twist. Woojin's acting is just purely better." Whatever the case, Kang Woojin's heart felt significantly more at ease as he gazed at the stage. He figured he'd just stand up at the right timing and offer a solemn round of applause. And then it happened. Wow. The Best Actor at the 95th Academy Awards goes to. Against everyone's expectations, the name called for the Academy Award Best Actor was Kang Woojin. From Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Congratulations. It was Kang Woojin. Classical music boomed throughout the Grand Hall. The thousands of powerful figures filling the audience went blank for a brief moment. What? Kang Woojin. My God, Kang Woojin won it. Haha, amazing. This is a day when history is being made at the Academy. Wow, to think he would win over those veteran monsters. Let's celebrate. Probably. No, definitely. From this moment on, Hollywood is going to change, starting with Kang Woojin. This is what it means to pioneer a new legend. One by one, people began to rise and offer thunderous applause. Clap, 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 clap. Before long, every Hollywood giant and master was giving a standing ovation. Cara, smiling brightly, clapped more vigorously than anyone else. Of course, even the veteran actors who had been nominated alongside him did the same. The eyes of countless cameras and everyone in the hall focused on one spot. Clap, 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 clap. It was Kang Woojin, still seated. Already around him, director on Ga Bak, Chris Hartnett, and the rest of the Pierrot team were hugging Woojin or pressing down hard on his shoulders, showering him with congratulations. Each one of them was shouting something in joy, but the man at the center of it all, Kang Woojin, showed no reaction, wearing a blank expression. It was because he couldn't believe it. Wallow away it? He was so shocked that a siren-like scream nearly escaped his mouth. What the hell just happened? Me? Did they really say my name? With his brain shutting down, Kang Woojin's ears went deaf momentarily before he barely regained his senses. At the same time, A barrage of screams, gasps, and howls slammed into him. Dollar asterisk, at and at percent, at asterisk asterisk at asterisk dollar at asterisk at and asterisk dollar at dollar, underscore dollar. Something was pounding into his ears, but he couldn't make out a single word. At this point, Woojin's broken brain finally began to restart, because right there on the massive screen on stage, his own face was displayed in giant size. All right, it really is me. Though he felt like his soul had left his body, Kang Woojin slowly stood up, his exterior covered in the same performance persona as always. Not intentionally, but unconsciously. His body remembered what it had been doing for the past 4 years. By now, clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. The majestic hall, the sound of a standing ovation being delivered by countless powerful figures from all over the world. That intensity seeped deeply into the ears of the standing Kang Woojin. Woojin slowly looked around. To the right, to the left, everyone around him was pouring excessive praise his way. Kang Woojin was getting goosebumps. All these unnamed giants were clapping for him. How could one express this thrill that made his knees weak? It felt like an electric current swept through his entire body. Whoa, this is insane. At that moment, live chats from viewers all around the world watching the Academy Awards were going absolutely wild. Dozens of reactions were shooting up every second, and though Woojin couldn't hear them, his family in Korea were screaming themselves hoarse. Kaya, Dad, Mom, Appa, yes, our son won it. He won it. Hoo, my son. I'm so proud. Well done. You did great, son. His best friends, every celebrity who knew him, and fans, including the entire Korean public, were all crying out Kang Woojin's name. Fans in Japan and around the world were probably doing the same. Soon, Kang Woojin, after thanking those around him, began to move. Swish. Still expressionless as always, but his steps toward the stage were full of strength. Step by step. Meanwhile, the standing ovation continued, and as Kang Woojin in his tuxedo drew closer to the stage, his expression turned solid. However, inside, he was letting out anxious curses. Wait. What do I say? What am I supposed to say in the acceptance speech? Whoa, shit, I seriously didn't think of a single word? Do I just say thank you and walk off? No, you idiot. This is the fucking Academy Awards. It was pure panic, but the face caught on the camera now beside Kang Woojin was the very picture of composure. And then, tap. Without having figured out any answers, Woojin stepped onto the stage of his dreams. The stage that filmmakers all over the world, including Hollywood, so deeply yearned for. The sight from up on the wide stage was nothing like what he saw from the audience. The lights shining down were scorching. Whoa, what is this? For a moment, the stress of trying to figure out his acceptance speech vanished. At the same time, Mr. Kang Woojin, congratulations. Congratulations. Pierrot was truly amazing. The Hollywood actors, who had called his name, began to shake hands with him and handed him the Academy Award trophy for Best Actor, decorated in gold and shaped in the iconic form of a person. Kang Woojin's first impression as he held the trophy in his hand was simple. It's heavy. It was the weight of the Best Actor award at a prestigious ceremony, under the watchful eyes of countless giants. And with it, they didn't give this to me lightly. It was undeniable proof that Kang Woojin had not been chosen carelessly. He silently looked down at the trophy in his hand. By this point, even the sound of applause that had filled the entire hall had come to a stop. Silence and stillness swept over the space. Everyone was waiting to hear Kang Woojin's voice. But Woojin didn't move right away. Was he contemplating what to say in his acceptance speech? No. Kang Woojin simply wanted to preserve this moment, this sight, just a little longer. In truth, the moment the trophy had been handed to him, Woojin had subconsciously made up his mind about how he would deliver his acceptance speech. There was no need to think it over. Perhaps it had already been decided the moment the void space had attached itself to him. Slide. Soon, Kang Woojin, the best actor at the 95th Academy Awards, let out a small breath and stepped in front of the standing microphone. The lights from the ceiling and the gazes of thousands of industry titans in the audience all converged on him. Kang Woojin glanced lightly over the grand audience with a poker face. Then suddenly, he relaxed his stiff expression and lifted the corners of his mouth into a smile. His expression changed in an instant. I actually won it. I really didn't expect this at all. The tone, accent, mood, and atmosphere of his fluent English. Everything was completely different from the heavy persona he had maintained until now. The reason was simple. To be honest, even now I'm wondering if this is real. Is this trophy really mine? This was not the concept-driven, tough-acting Kang Woojin, but the real core of him. In other words, the real genuine Kang Woojin. Or please tell me now if it's not. He shed his mask before the 76 Monster for Kang Woojin, who had been announced as the recipient of the Best Actor Award at the 95th Academy Awards. The moment he stepped onto the grand stage was being watched by thousands of big names in the audience and viewers from around the world. It wouldn't have been strange if his heart had burst from the pressure. But Woojin was in no backing down mode. At that moment, he had shed off any concept or persona and was confidently showing his honest self. And it was at this place, the Academy Awards, where the fruits of everything had finally come to bear. Just for this moment at least, I want to show my true self. I don't care, damn it. Even if I get criticized or cause controversy, I'm going for it. I'll deal with the consequences later. Honestly, the result was far beyond his expectations, and since it was his first experience at the Academy Awards, his brain was functioning slowly. There was no room for cold calculations and predictions. Kang Woojin simply chose to reveal his suppressed emotions and smiles, showing a truly sincere side as he continued his acceptance speech. I really don't know. I really didn't prepare anything at all. You know that feeling when you're not sure where to start? I feel like my heart's about to explode. Anyway, this is the real me, and I'll just say what I feel. What comes later, comes later. So gradually. I guess I should start with a thank you. Thank you so much, really. All the actors who were nominated with me were incredible, so I want to thank them as well. The thousands of foreigners seated in the audience began to show signs of mild confusion. Kang Woojin, isn't he acting a bit different? Yeah. His usually reserved or stern demeanor has disappeared. From his first appearance in Hollywood until now, Woojin had shown a heavy, intense aura. To everyone, Kang Woojin had perhaps seemed indifferent, cold, and distant, with a touch of arrogance, often brusque and rough around the edges. But now, he seems kind of light. Didn't he just say something about this being his true self? Right, I heard that too. What does he even mean by true self? That previously weighty presence was gone. The murmurs in the audience grew louder. Meanwhile, Kang Woojin, still smiling, continued his remarks. You know all those declarations I made about targeting or challenging the Academy Awards? That was just me spurting things out. I hope there were no misunderstandings. I think I actually enjoyed filming Pierrot quite a bit. The main character was fun, and the costume and makeup were pretty shocking. So I think that gave me better energy than usual. Anyway, it's so bright. Thanks to the entire Pierrot team. No, this wasn't really an acceptance speech. It was more like he was just spouting whatever came to mind. With Kang Woojin now completely disarmed, the murmurs in the audience visibly grew louder. What is this? What's that man doing? The situation, the commotion, was gradually escalating. There was no way Kang Woojin on stage wouldn't notice. But instead, he chose to go even further on his fucking my way route. Once he started, he rode the momentum. Many of you are probably surprised, right? But I thought I'd regret it later if I came all the way here and still hid my true self. Please stay calm and listen to me until the end. He decided to go all the way. Kang Woojin continued, firmly. But just like the thousands of people in the audience, the chats from global viewers watching live were going wild. Still, all of this was something Woojin had to endure. However, the audience's confusion had spread too far. He's acting strange, like he's not himself. Did something happen? Is his mind a bit shaken? Shouldn't someone stop him? Look over there. Even the Academy staff have weird expressions. What could be done now? Kang Woojin had no intention of stopping. This time, he even dropped English and switched to Korean. And to my dad, mom, and sister back in Korea, I love you all and my Friday dash. My friends, thank you. CEO Choi Sung-gun and everyone at BW Entertainment, thank you too. Also, I really can't think of anything else. TL note. The first friends is cut off because when speaking, Woojin used slang which means best friends, but it's a crude slang, as its literal translation would be testicle friends or ball friends. So he changed to use the correct word for friend in Korean. Hopefully that makes it clear. He suddenly smiled and even started speaking in Korean. The entire audience looked around. There was a sense of, is this okay? As things stood, the awards ceremony might not be able to continue smoothly. And that was when it happened. Amid the thousands of murmuring VIPs, a blonde woman with a serious expression quietly murmured, "Joker." It was Miley Cara. Soon, a faint smile spread across her lips. A declaration filled with conviction. It's Joker. Since Woojin won the Best Actor award for Pierrot, he's giving his acceptance speech to everyone watching him as Joker. Or, perhaps, a conviction filled with misunderstanding. But that misunderstanding, masked as conviction and proclaimed with such certainty, quickly spread around Miley. Joker? Miley, are you saying he's acting right now? Oh my God, is he seriously giving his acceptance speech on stage as Joker? Why yeah, I mean, no matter how eccentric he is, would he go that far? People who agreed with Miley Cara's misunderstanding began to appear one after another. No, she's right. Kang Woojin has really transformed into Joker right now. I saw Pierrot, and that mischievous look and impishness are the very traits that shine in Joker. As I thought. I also watched Pierrot at the pre-release. From the moment he smiled, he overlapped with Joker. Kang Woojin, who had no way of knowing this, was still continuing his long speech. Of course, still in Korean. Next, to fans around the world or in Korea. I kept my promise, right? Thank you for watching over me, and I really love you all. Meanwhile, across the entire audience, they say it's Joker. Huh? Joker? So he's giving his speech as that character right now? Haha, that's surprising. The name Joker began to fill the space. So it was that after all. That side of him was Joker. No wonder he suddenly seemed lighter. Huh? That's Joker? Anyway, you really can't predict Kang Woojin. Who would have thought he'd pull this kind of performance at the Academy Awards? On the historic day, he won Best Actor. He didn't even do anything like that at the Emmy Awards, aside from the red carpet, right? Wow, he really is a complete eccentric. It was a strange sight. Kang Woojin was speaking from the heart, but it was as if his sincerity was being filtered through a lens and scattered into a mass misunderstanding throughout the hall. It had already spread to more than 70% of the audience. The Pierrot team had already been smiling with ease, starting with director On Jae-bak, arms crossed. Haha, this guy really has no end to his guts. Who'd have thought he'd act even after climbing onto that monstrous stage? Chris Hartnett shook his head like he was exasperated. This monster of a guy. But a Joker speaking Korean is entertaining. Without a doubt, this brilliant acceptance speech will be talked about for as long as the Academy Awards exist. The rest of the key staff and others were saying similar things. He really started as Joker and ended as Joker. He's an amazing actor. I'm getting goosebumps for no reason. Using Joker to maximize his impact while also promoting the movie. That's what a real actor is. It happened fast. The misconception and misunderstanding quickly engulfed the massive hall. Of course, the live stream chat from audiences around the world, filled with question marks, was no exception. What on earth is he doing right now? Looks like Joker? What do you mean, Joker? Anyone who saw Pierrot would recognize it immediately. He's giving the speech as the character that got him the award. Joker? The villain protagonist of Pierrot? It's definitely Joker. Otherwise, why would Kang Woojin be doing something this crazy? Amazing. If you guys are right, he's dedicating his acceptance speech to the character who earned him the award? Joker. 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 Wow. Kang Woojin's crazier than I thought. But I like it. Joker had taken over completely. At this rate, it would naturally explode across the globe, including Korea and Japan. The misunderstanding was spreading globally. The hosts were all those who had seen Pierrot. Fortunately, the Academy Awards staff must have caught wind of the rumor too, because they no longer looked confused. The buzzing hall instantly quieted down, and watching it all from the stage, Kang Woojin was genuinely touched. They got it. For things to settle this quickly, as expected of Hollywood. Then, after a brief breath, he moved into the final part of his acceptance speech, which was now almost rambling. This time, in English. Miley Cara, I'm not good with words, but I'm always grateful. I can't think of anything else now. If there's anyone I forgot to mention, thank you too. Kang Woojin raised the Best Actor trophy. I don't plan to be satisfied with this award. I'll keep challenging myself next year too. And I hope all the movies I've worked on have good results. How should I end this? Yeah. Really, thank you. At that moment, as if they'd never been confused, the entire audience rose to their feet again in applause. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. It was more intense than the first time. Naturally so. It was a recognition of the actor named Kang Woojin. That actor's mindset is honestly admirable. They had fallen for him. Loud whistles and exclamations burst out from all directions. Woojin smiled comfortably, raised the trophy toward the ceiling a few times, and stepped off the stage. A camera immediately followed him. As Woojin made his way back to his seat, people he passed reached out to shake his hand. Let's definitely meet in a project sometime. I was impressed. I'll always support Kang Woojin as an actor. You deserve to be praised. Always stay an actor who lives only for acting. The praise was a bit much, but Kang Woojin, smiling, expressed his thanks to them. Only after shaking hands with hundreds of people did Woojin return to the seat where the Pierrot team was gathered. Naturally, everyone had stood up and was applauding. Chris embraced Woojin, and the rest of the key staff offered their hearty congratulations. However, when director On Jae-bok came into view, Kang Woojin couldn't help but pause. Their history went back quite a bit. What should he say? Woojin thought that whatever he said, it should begin with an apology. Director Nim. Woojin. But director On Jae-bok stopped the apology that Woojin had just started in Korean, and with a wrinkled smile, he said, You really are something. How do you pull off such outrageous acts with such an indifferent expression? I saw Joker wearing the mask of Kang Woojin. It was as if Joker had possessed your body. Kang Woojin blinked. He was speechless. He had to interpret what the director just said. Joker? What the hell is he talking about? Just then, Chris placed a hand on Woojin's shoulder and joined in. The whole time you were giving your speech, the audience kept gasping. Of course they did. No one expected the real Joker to show up. Your acceptance speech as Joker is going to be all over the headlines tomorrow. From the team members around him, to VIPs in front, behind, and on either side, everyone raised their thumbs in approval. I haven't seen Pierrot yet, but your Joker speech made me feel like I definitely should. That was an intriguing, special, and truly actor-like acceptance speech. Your performance has left an impression on everyone. And so on and so forth. At this point, Kang Woojin had realized it. No, how could he not? Yes, this familiar feeling and scent. Unbelievable. I was wondering what was going on. Letting out a dry chuckle inwardly, Woojin lifted his gaze. A little distance away stood the blonde-haired Miley Cara. She gave him double thumbs up and was smiling. He didn't even need to talk to her to know. His girlfriend was 100% filled with Joker misunderstanding as well. Letting out a small sigh, Kang Woojin looked around at the thousands of focused eyes. All of them were filled with admiration. Woojin chuckled bitterly inside. Fuck, a bunch of mistaken bastards. As if resigning himself to it. Meanwhile, in Korea and beyond. Breaking news. Kang Woojin lifts the Best Actor trophy at the Academy Awards. Acceptance speech delivered as Joker. Triumph. Kang Woojin is the Best Actor at the Academy Awards. Acceptance speech given in character as Joker from Pierrot. Across Japan, Hollywood, and the rest of the world, Kang Woojin's presence was exploding in full force. Or, more precisely, CNM/started and ended as Joker. Kang Woojin wins Best Actor at the Oscars. /photo. It was spreading across the globe like a nuclear bomb. Just as Kang Woojin had said. LA Times/95th Academy Awards Best Actor is Kang Woojin, and his acceptance speech was extraordinary. Livestream chat comments. Didn't expect Joker to appear. All thanks to the mistaken bastards. TL7. Monster 5. The winner of the Best Actor award at the 95th Academy Awards was Kang Woojin. This outcome was, perhaps, unexpected, a twist and a surprise for many in the global film industry and the general public. The Hollywood A-list actors nominated alongside him were formidable, and the result overturned the traditions and history that the Academy Awards had upheld for so long. Moreover, the outlandish trajectory of Pierrot was also part of that surprise. But above all, Kang Woojin's circumstances were unbelievable. He was only in his 4th year since debut and had only recently appeared in Hollywood. Winning the Emmy Awards might have been considered a miracle, but the Academy Awards felt like a dream come true. He was also the first Korean actor and the first from Asia to ever achieve this. Woojin had done something that had never happened in the entire 95-year history of the event. It was enough to shake Hollywood and the world. Therefore, 10 minutes after Kang Woojin lifted the Best Actor trophy, CNN/Joker appeared on the Academy Awards stage. Kang Woojin concludes it with Joker, wins Best Actor/Photo. LA Times/Kang Woojin's acceptance speech shocked thousands in the audience and global viewers. The one lifting the trophy on stage was Joker. Hollywood was suddenly flooded with an enormous amount of coverage. While Woojin's Best Actor win was big news, what truly drew attention was his acceptance speech. Despite accomplishing what no one else had, Kang Woojin, without the slightest bit of nervousness or trembling, delivered a ridiculously absurd acceptance speech in front of the entire world. It was full of misconceptions and misunderstandings, but no one knew the inside story. Everyone could only marvel and praise Kang Woojin's boldness. BBX/global viewers watching the live broadcast were deeply moved. Kang Woojin remained an actor even in the moment of receiving the award/photo. He overturned history, and yet handled his acceptance speech as Joker with poise. He displayed mischievousness in front of the vast stage and thousands of industry giants. His unquenchable thirst for acting, his steadfastness in walking his own path without regard for others' opinions, and his fearless, no-backing-down nature. He threw it all out there without a second thought. Hollywood was feverishly ecstatic over Woojin's eccentricity, or, in their words, his fucking my way attitude that they had never seen before. There's no other word than monster to describe him. Kang Woojin's Best Actor win at the Academy Awards was perhaps inevitable. Yes, a monster. Even in Hollywood, the heart of the global film industry, Woojin was now being described as a monster. The global public was just as frenzied. Kang Woojin is insane. He even turned his acceptance speech into a performance. Joker, Joker, Joker. I saw Pierrot during its early screening, but I'm going to watch it again when it officially releases. Did he really deliver the acceptance speech possessed by Joker? If so, he's truly a lunatic. There may be people who hate or criticize him, but I think Kang Woojin is a true actor. A speech that will be remembered forever. This is what true star power looks like. Someone who overturns expectations and constantly generates buzz. Everyone is excited about Kang Woojin, but I still find him uncomfortable. He's too self-centered. I admit he's arrogant, but it's an arrogance with substance, and I like that. Way better than someone who acts cocky after gaining a little popularity. Kang Woojin, congratulations on your Best Actor Oscar win. To win the Academy Award for Best Actor in such a short time. How much more amazing will he be in 5 years? Joker, now that the acceptance speech is done, hurry and release your next work. Those watching the Academy Awards live, global online communities, various social media platforms, regardless of country or language, the global public was screaming madly for Kang Woojin, for Joker. YouTube across multiple countries was already flooded with videos of the Academy Awards or Kang Woojin. If this was the global reaction, what more can be said about Korea? Press, mass media, public opinion, all were already watching the Academy Awards as if it were a national event, and Korea had already. Breaking, Kang Woojin lifts the Academy Award Best Actor trophy. Acceptance speech delivered as Joker. It was all about Kang Woojin. Aside from his family, friends, colleagues, and fans, practically the entire nation was shouting. This was no longer just national prestige, it was the treatment of a national hero. Japan was no different, and many Asian countries that had shown consistent interest in Kang Woojin also featured his achievement as headline news. Japan, China, Vietnam, and others highlight Kang Woojin's Academy Awards Best Actor win as main story/photo. Of course, among Hollywood's 5 major film studios, Columbia Studios, Walt Disney Pictures, and Universal Movies were in a celebratory mood. and eight media of guest was in utter chaos. Kang Woojin. Kang Woojin won it. This is insane. Truly insane. Who would have thought he'd actually win Best Actor? Ha ha ha. He's a monster, a monster. There's no other way to describe it. When he gave his speech as Joker, it gave me chills. Bizarre but brilliant. Only Kang Woojin could pull this off. He's a phenomenal actor. The world was in an uproar, but this was only the beginning. At the same time, at the Dolby Theater, the focus of the Academy Awards ceremony that had been entirely on Kang Woojin had somewhat settled, and the next part of the event had begun as if nothing had happened. Phew, what an incredible acceptance speech, wasn't it? Congratulations to Kang Woojin. Now let's change the mood and move on to the Best Actress Award. Just like before, the announcers stepped onto the splendid stage, and Kang Woojin, seated among countless industry giants, was already immersed in his concept persona again. After all, he had accepted, with resignation, the mistaken bastards he had furiously muttered to himself earlier. Yeah, years' worth of misconceptions and misunderstandings aren't going to disappear all at once. Then he, swoosh, glanced down at the Best Actor trophy on his knee. Its golden, dazzling form. But fuck, I really didn't see this misunderstanding coming. Soon, Kang Woojin came to a conclusion. Whatever, damn it. I'm just going to roll with the misunderstandings until I die. So what? Whether it was his true self or a persona. In the end, both the real Kang Woojin and the act are still me. Makes no difference. Both were Kang Woojin. Still, except for family and friends who already knew his true self, he wanted at least one person to see the real him. Woojin looked up at someone. My girlfriend. It was Miley Kara. She wasn't looking at Woojin, her gaze directed at the stage, but Woojin looked at her profile and made a resolution. After the ceremony, I need to tell her that the acceptance speech wasn't Joker, it was really me. I wonder what she'll say. Just about then, the Best Actress of the Academy Awards was announced. A Hollywood actress in a beige-toned dress ascended the stage with a wide smile. Woojin clapped reflexively, but his mind was elsewhere. He was thinking about his future. He had just won the Academy Award for Best Actor. What kind of things would unfold from now on? Honestly, it was hard for him to even guess. Everything was a first, an unknown world. At that moment, as if he had read Woojin's inner thoughts, Chris Hartnett, smiling, whispered into his ear, "You never get tired of looking at the Oscar trophy, huh?" "That's true. Haha. I felt the same when I first got one." Woojin, you're already a world star, but now the Academy has proven you're a monstrous actor. A superstar too. Come on, that's a bit much. Chris, you're a goddamn handsome superstar yourself. Woojin answered inwardly, but remained silent on the outside. Chris's smile deepened as he concluded. It's probably already overwhelming, but from now on, things will get way busier. Because Hollywood, and the world, will come looking for you. It was spot on. It was clear that starting tonight, Kang Woojin would be bombarded with offers from all over the United States, TV broadcasts, media, YouTube, parties, events, and more. Not only that, but even beyond Hollywood, no matter what country he visited, including Korea, he would be met with jaw-dropping welcomes and crowds gathering like clouds. While Woojin vaguely imagined this absurd future for a moment, Chris added more words. But the wild part is, Woojin, this is just the beginning. There are still so many projects waiting to be released to the world. That was true. From Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, which had now won 2 awards including Woojin's Best Actor, to Beast and the Beauty, John Persona, and the upcoming films scheduled for the next year or two. Kang Woojin's influence wouldn't be surprising even if it pierced through the universe. At that moment, hello, I feel infinitely honored to be able to present the Best Director Award at the 95th Academy Awards. The Academy Awards were reaching their finale. On the large monitors across the grand stage, the faces of directors considered giants in Hollywood were displayed. And among them appeared director On Jae-bak, the only one of Korean nationality. It was time for the Best Director announcement. Woojin, who had been watching the stage, glanced to his right. Director On Jae-bak's wrinkled face wore a serious expression. No matter how much of a veteran or old man he might be, this was still a moment that could make anyone nervous. If he were to win here, Pierrot would secure its 3rd award. And that triple crown was achieved. the 95th Academy Awards Best Director. It didn't take long. Phew, what an incredible work. Congratulations. Director on Ga Bak of Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Director on Ga Bak was announced as the recipient of the Best Director Award at the Academy Awards. Once again, the hall full of industry heavyweights stood up and erupted into applause. Clap, 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 clap. The entire Pierrot team, including Kang Woojin, also gave a standing ovation, and now a faint smile appeared on Director on Ga Bak's face. After expressing his gratitude for some time, Director on Ga Bak made eye contact with Woojin, whose expression was indifferent. Swish. He extended his hand, offering a handshake. Thank you. Meeting you was the greatest fortune of my life. This old man was truly touched. Kang Woojin clasped Director on Ga Bak's hand and pulled him into an embrace. It was clumsy but sincere. Congratulations, Director Nim. Working with you on this project was the best experience for me as well. Heh. At my age, I shouldn't be getting teary-eyed. A Korean actor and director embracing. This scene was vividly captured by numerous cameras. Watching this moment from the monitor in the Dolby Theater's waiting room, Choi Sung-gun was also moved to tears. This image. A masterpiece, a masterpiece. A Korean actor and director had achieved a miracle side-by-side at the Academy Awards. A two-shot that may never come again in the past or future. Following that, Director on Ga Bak took his trophy and stood before the standing microphone. Thank you. Overcome with emotion, his aged voice trembled slightly. Still, he managed to force out his English. I don't have the witty sense to give a speech like Kang Woojin's Joker one, but I'll say what I can in my own way. It's been a long journey, getting up to this stage, I mean. The Academy Awards is a place every director dreams of visiting, and I was no different. It took me decades, but I finally made it here. First, I want to thank Kang Woojin, and also Columbia Studios for giving me the opportunity, and Director on Ga Bak continued his speech calmly, without getting too excited or animated. At the end, he expressed his gratitude in Korean to the people back home in Korea, to the Korean fans, and to the hundreds or thousands of you who have watched my films throughout my career. I dedicate this award to you. Thank you. The standing ovation erupted again. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. In the middle of it, several audience members seated in the crowd gasped in amazement. Costume design, Best Actor, Best Director. Pierrot just bagged 3 awards. They've done something incredible. It's an outstanding piece of work in many ways. It's even more surprising that it hasn't officially released yet, and the Best Picture award is still remaining. By now, many audience members were starting to anticipate. After causing this much of a sensation, they hoped the momentum wouldn't stop, that it would carry on and explode all the way to the Academy's grandest prize. And that expectation, clap, 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 quickly became reality. The most prestigious and final award of the globally renowned Academy Awards, Best Picture, with thunderous applause shaking the hall. Swish. A composed Kang Woojin once again stepped onto the stage. He wasn't alone. Director on Ga Bak, Chris Hartnett, and the entire Pierrot team appeared on stage. Some were crying, others were jumping with joy. They already had 3 trophies, but now a 4th was being handed over. On Ga Bak and Chris gestured toward Kang Woojin. They meant for him to receive it. Woojin, still maintaining his poker face, accepted the final Academy Award trophy. Say a few words, why don't you go first? Yes, Woojin. This time, it's fine to speak as yourself, not as Joker. Director on Ga Bak and the others chose Woojin to be the first speaker. Soon, holding 2 Academy trophies in both hands, Woojin, swish, stood before the standing microphone once more. Unlike the previous acceptance speech as Joker for Best Actor, Kang Woojin now stood with an entirely different, very subdued energy and mood, and quietly spoke in English into the microphone. Thank you for the Best Picture Award. This is the result of everyone here on stage, and all the members of the Pierrot team who aren't here with us. And with that, Woojin's cynical air once again left the powerful audience in awe. How different he is it. Seems the Joker, who gave the acceptance speech earlier, has gone home. Achieving a quadruple crown, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, swept the Academy Awards. Chapter 478, Suddenly 1. After Kang Woojin's acceptance speech, director On Jae-bok took over the baton, and even Chris Hartnett gave a brief acceptance speech. Of course, the key staff involved in the production of Pierrot also followed. It wasn't the usual scene, but the finale of this year's Academy Awards, the Best Picture Award, was concluded in a way that recognized everyone involved in Pierrot. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. As soon as the speeches ended, a standing ovation erupted at the Dolby Theater, and it lasted for quite a while. The atmosphere was filled with ecstasy. Watching this from the stage, Kang Woojin kept a calm expression, but goosebumps rose on his skin. It's spectacular, truly spectacular. That sentiment was shared by the entire Pierrot team standing on stage, including director On Jae-bok. In any case, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain swept the 95th Academy Awards and made history by winning 4 major awards. After over 10 minutes of celebration, Woojin and the Pierrot team barely managed to return to their seats. What an absolutely incredible event the 95th Academy Awards turned out to be. Those grand moments have now come to an end. It has been a great honor to host this event. As the host delivered the closing remarks, most of the Pierrot team began to envision a path strewn with flowers ahead. 4 awards. 4 awards. This isn't just unexpected, it's insane. Ha ha ha, just 4 awards? We took home the Best Costume Design, Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture. We basically swept all the main awards of the Academy Awards. Just being nominated officially for an Oscar and winning Best Costume Design would have been enough publicity. This is like a nuclear bomb exploding worldwide. We can't not expect a massive box office performance, right? Indeed. While there were many meanings behind Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain aiming for the Academy Awards, one of the core goals was to gain momentum and power when the film released worldwide. There was also fear of failure. Box office success? This is going to be several times greater. It might even result in a truly record-breaking outcome. The report card was beyond phenomenal. With numerous controversies, Kang Woojin's brand power, and the sensational nature of Pierrot, on top of the jackpot at the Academy Awards, what was left was a runaway success. Woojin, listening to the excited chatter of the team, also became fired up, though he tried his best to remain calm while predicting what lay ahead. However, it wasn't going well. Record-breaking results? It does seem like it'll be mind-blowing, but I don't really know. Ah shit, I should have experienced this before to know. It made sense that he couldn't gauge it. Well, Kang Woojin had been involved in Korea's top 3 all-time films, surpassed 20 million viewers, and even conquered Japan. The miracle film Leech, which had achieved a miracle at Cannes, was released in several countries and performed decently. But Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, was on a different scale. Its starting point was Hollywood, with a release planned in about 40 countries. The film company was the Hollywood giant Columbia Studios. It was Woojin's first experience in Hollywood, so it wasn't strange that he couldn't even begin to imagine the scale. He then recalled Pierrot's void space grade. -11/script, title, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, grade, EX+++. Vaguely, he could be certain of one thing. I don't know, damn. Let's just call it an ultra super mega hit, at a level far beyond what my imagination could dare to reach. Soon, the host announced the conclusion across the grand Dolby Theater. This concludes the 95th Academy Awards. See you next year. Thunderous applause erupted once again from thousands of big names. Although the ceremony was ending, the broadcast crew for the Academy Awards remained busy. They had to film Kang Woojin, the star of this year's event, and the Pierrot team. Of course, the live chat from global viewers still watching the broadcast remained ablaze. Even after the chaotic Academy Awards ended, Kang Woojin's surroundings were far from quiet. Numerous big names swarmed him, requesting handshakes and conversations. And when he barely managed to escape the hall, he was greeted by the screams of thousands of reporters and broadcast teams waiting for him. Kang Woojin, over here. Please look this way. Please say a word. How did you feel holding the Best Actor Award trophy? Was your Joker speech prepared in advance? Woojin, you're aiming for next year's Academy Awards too, right? What's your forecast for Pierrot's box office success? Hey, Kang Woojin. Do you have anything to say to your global fans? Endless shouting, screaming, and yelling echoed from the entrance of the Dolby Theater. The excitement of thousands of reporters hadn't cooled, and the tens of thousands of spectators surrounding them were even more intense. News broadcasting teams from various countries were busy capturing the entire scene. Woojin, having once again donned his concept mode, responded moderately before leaving the scene with the Pierrot team. Everyone invited to today's Academy Awards was expected to attend the after-party, but, Woojin, you're coming, right? No, I'll pass. To Chris's question, Kang Woojin shook his head. The reactions were ones of disbelief. Was the main star really skipping? But since Woojin was such an unpredictable character, fortunately, everyone understood. Still, Chris Hartnett couldn't hide his disappointment. Haha, an Oscar Best Actor winner not attending the after-party. This might be a first too, huh? Afterward, Woojin met up with Choi Sung-gun and other team members and boarded the van. Inside the van on the way home, it wouldn't be wrong to say that everyone had gone wild. Frenzy and screams completely filled the vehicle. Of course, Kang Woojin wanted to join in from the bottom of his heart, but he held himself back. Later, when Woojin arrived at his home in L.A., Woojin, Choi Sung-gun, his face full of awe and joy, didn't say much. As always, but especially today, you were the best. Thank you. You worked hard too. The reason was simple. I never doubted you'd win. Choi Sung-gun firmly believed that Kang Woojin would pull it off. The two had been together from the very beginning. Their trust was deep, and there was no such thing as doubt between them. Get some rest. I'll call you tomorrow. Choi Sung-gun, who had firmly grasped Woojin's shoulder, got back into the van, and as Woojin watched the van drive away, he let out a long sigh. Then he entered the house. As soon as he stepped into the living room, Kang Woojin placed the golden trophy in his hand down on the table. The trophy that actors all over the world long for. It now belonged to Kang Woojin. For a brief moment, Woojin stared down at the trophy with a calm face, but then his expression began to twitch. Just for a moment. Suddenly throwing away his concept persona, Kang Woojin broke into a huge smile and raised both arms high. Whoa! He roared. This feels fucking amazing. It was the moment he had the whole world in his hands. Meanwhile, Hollywood, Korea, and the rest of the world simultaneously exploded with news of the Academy Awards. CNN/Academy Awards, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain sweeps 4 major awards. ABY/Best Actor Kang Woojin, Best Director on Ga Bak, Best Picture goes to Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. It was an event beyond a miracle and a catastrophe surpassing all twists and turns. The world cried out endlessly for Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. In Korea, the situation was beyond tumultuous. Breaking news, Pierrot sweeps the Oscars. Complete victory, including Best Picture. Kang Woojin and director on Ga Bak reach out to the world. 95th Oscars are completely dominated by Pierrot. It wasn't just the press. All kinds of mass media outside of the news, from communities to YouTube, were endlessly praising Kang Woojin and Pierrot. This had long surpassed the level of promotional marketing. It was a movement worthy of being recorded as part of global history. That continued for at least a week, and with no sign of losing steam, May arrived. Kang Woojin was busier than ever before. After the Academy Awards, he was so tied up with interviews, events, and parties that returning to the filming of John Persona became difficult. We now welcome the person with the most powerful brand in Hollywood, Mr. Kang Woojin. Hello. I've heard you're also the most expensive in both time and appearance fees. I still have a long way to go. His influence soared sky high to the point that its end was unknowable. Every second, every minute, he was being mentioned madly somewhere around the world, so it was only natural. If you were to name the busiest actor in Hollywood at that moment, it was 100% certain it was Kang Woojin. Therefore, channel name, Kang Woojin's alter ego. Subscribers, 87.89 million. Videos, 266. Woojin's YouTube channel was approaching 90 million subscribers and still rising rapidly. On top of that, his social media too. At Woojin_. Posts, 512. Followers, 100 million. Following, 238. He had surpassed 100 million followers. This made him #1 in Korea and within the top 50 globally. As such, Kang Woojin, who was top of the world, finally returned to filming John Persona in the first week of May. Though he had already received an overwhelming amount of congratulations via messages, the hundreds of staff on set once again sang his praises. Even executives from Universal Movies came to the set. That was only natural. Phew, this is kinda embarrassing. While he had set absurd records, the mere fact that Kang Woojin was the male lead of John Persona made for terrifyingly powerful promotion and marketing. Still, shooting is 100 times better than all those messy schedules. When Woojin finally managed to return to set, the works related to him naturally gained momentum too. Guest, the Hollywood version of Exorcism, which starred his girlfriend Miley Cara and Pierrot co-star Chris Hartnett, and was backed by Woojin and his agency's investment, confirmed its first day of filming after finishing the script reading. May 15th. Given how hectic things were, the 15th arrived in no time, and at the sight of Guest, the first signal rang out. Action. Fueled by the massive favorability thanks to Kang Woojin, the entire Guest team's combat spirit was sky-high. For reference, Kang Woojin's special cameo was scheduled to be filmed around June. Then, exactly 1 week later, while Woojin was in the middle of filming, he received a call from director Bill Rotner of Beast and the Beauty. It was the first call since post-production began in January, excluding a congratulatory message related to the Academy Awards. Naturally, it was good news. Beast and the Beauty editing just wrapped up. We're about to gather for a test screening. Will you be able to attend? Woojin had already coordinated with Miley Cara. How could I possibly miss the first look at Beast? So the answer was already determined. Of course. That day, World Disney Pictures announced to the world that Beast and the Beauty had finished editing. Though teasers or trailers weren't out yet, the next day a formal poster featuring both Beast and Beauty Bella was released. The poster featured only Kang Woojin as the Beast, with no trace of Joker. Despite heavy CGI, the global public's reaction upon seeing the poster was explosive. Oh, Disney, you pulled off better quality than expected? The prevailing opinion was that the live-action version had been well executed without harming the original. Naturally, this evaluation also reflected the real-life couple power of Woojin and Cara. Expectations for Beast and the Beauty were soaring. However, at that moment, Beast and the Beauty still couldn't surpass Pierrot, the birth of a villain. By the end of May, Hollywood and the world were overflowing with Pierrot. No, more precisely, ever since Woojin's first week back filming John Persona, it had been that way. NT/Academy Awards 4 award winner Pierrot, the birth of a villain worldwide release imminent. Since Columbia Studios announced the worldwide release date for Pierrot, the birth of a villain, for the past month, there hadn't been a single quiet day regarding global release news. That's how overwhelming the momentum for the film was. The worldwide release of Pierrot was just around the corner. Starting May 31st, Pierrot would release in 40 countries, and aside from a day or two of difference, the release dates were nearly identical. Among them, the first country to release it would be South Korea. The reason was simple. Because Joker is Kang Woojin and the director is On Jae-bak. Both are Korean and swept the Academy Awards, bringing miracles to Columbia Studios. They had launched the cinematic universe with a nuclear bomb, so moving up the release date by a single day wasn't difficult. Whatever the case, it was confirmed that Pierrot, the birth of a villain, would open first worldwide in South Korea. Pierrot, the birth of a villain, to premiere first in Korea. Korea had already been blazing with excitement. Well, it was a predictable situation. Who in the world could possibly resist Pierrot? Pierrot, the birth of a villain release just around the corner, public already buzzing. Will Korea's box office rankings be rewritten? Issue pick. 2 days until the release of Kang Woojin and director On Jae-bak's Pierrot, the birth of a villain, already sold out everywhere/photo. Kang Woojin personally uploading a greeting to the Korean people via YouTube and social media only poured more oil onto the fire. The influence of the monster brought an earthquake to Korea. Eventually, May 30th passed, and the morning of the 31st, release day for Pierrot, arrived. Naturally, theaters were bound to be packed from the early morning shows. Wow, Insane, look at all these people. This is nuts. This much crowd for an early morning showing? It's like watching a weekend movie. I expected this when I saw the early morning show was sold out. But I've never seen anything like this before. They're all rushing in to see Joker. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, which had taken the world by storm and swept the Academy Awards. Kang Woojin's Joker had landed in Korea. Naturally, getting a ticket was like grabbing a star from the sky. It's finally here. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Has there ever been a movie with this many sold-out screenings? It was a parade of sold-out screenings. Chapter 479, Suddenly, 2. Joker has landed in South Korea. Early in the morning on May 31st, despite being the first show of the day, movie theaters nationwide were packed with audiences. This was unprecedented, and because of the commotion, reporters and various news teams were filming at the theaters. We're at a movie theater in Gangnam, and although it's morning, as you can see, a rare sight is unfolding with crowds of people lining up from the entrance. They're here to watch the movie Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain. Of course, it was a situation that had been foreseen. Kang Woojin's Academy Award for Best Actor, Director on Ga-Bok's win for Best Director, and even the Best Picture Award. It was the premiere day of Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, which had turned not only Korea but the entire world upside down about a month ago. How entertaining would it be? How amazing would it be? Audiences from across the country flocked to the theaters, bursting with soaring expectations. Even though it was a weekday, every screening time, morning, noon, and afternoon, was sold out. The only slots with a few remaining seats were in the late-night hours. And so, whoa, look at all these people. This is seriously insanely popular. Is it true that the theater is almost full for the first showing? But that's only natural, right? Pierrot swept the Academy Awards, and even during its limited premiere in the US, it was completely sold out. You don't even need hesitate with a movie like this. This is going to be epic, right? Hurry up and start already. Numerous viewers seated in the first Pierrot screenings nationwide exclaimed at the packed theaters while eagerly waiting for the movie to start on screen. After a 10-minute wait that felt like an hour. SSSS. It's starting. On the giant screen, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain began to play. Soon, the audience could witness Kang Woojin's Joker. A cigarette in his mouth, red hair, pale face, and thick red lips stretched into a wide smile. The Joker. Kik. Ha ha ha, ha ha. His bizarre, yet booming laughter echoed through the entire theater. He, ha 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 kik. In response, every viewer gulped. They had expected something intense. But seeing it firsthand was several times more shocking than they had imagined. It was already a Joker that had conquered Hollywood, and Korea was instantly swept up as well. The impact was immediate as soon as the first showing of Pierrot ended. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain released May 31st, 2023. Rating 9.8. Viewer and netizen reviews 897 participants. The scene where he completes the Joker face with flour and blood in the beginning was the best scene of my life. /B*******. No way. Kang Woojin's acting is seriously insane. How will any other actor play Joker after this? /T******. I felt like I witnessed something far beyond acting. I completely understand why Kang Woojin won the Oscar for Best Actor /1 ******. Kang Woojin did what Kang Woojin does /G******. Wow, Kang Woojin's acting is for real. Everyone, bring 4,248 pairs of underwear, and it still won't be enough /Z******. It had fun, catharsis, direction, and message all in one, and Kang Woojin was a monster /4 ******. When the Joker fully awakened and charged forward with no backing down, I literally got chills. This is fucking amazing /J******. Watching Kang Woojin's Joker made me feel like I could become that way too /3 *****. Just watch it. Words can't describe it /C******. You can see why Kang Woojin dominated the world in this movie /Q******. Those who watched Pierrot rushed to leave their reviews and spread word like wildfire across communities about the extraordinary film they had just witnessed. Of course, it was the same on social media, and on YouTube, videos related to Pierrot were everywhere. Korea shook all day from the impact of Pierrot, the birth of a villain. Even Kang Woojin in LA was receiving real-time updates and messages about the situation. Though he played it cool as part of his persona, inside, he was smiling with satisfaction. Good, good, the reviews are excellent. I'm curious about the audience numbers. With all these sellouts, the results are going to be record-breaking. I'll need to check tomorrow right away. On June 1st, a day after the release, South Korea saw the massive announcement of Pierrot's opening day performance. Breaking news, Pierrot, the birth of a villain surpasses 1 million viewers in a single day. Pierrot achieved a miracle by surpassing 1 million viewers in just one day. To be exact, it recorded 1.04 million. This figure easily surpassed the first-day records of Korea's current top 3 films, Leech, Island of the Missing, and The Eerie Sacrifice of a Stranger. However, this was only the beginning. Pierrot, the birth of a villain surpasses 1 million viewers on opening in Korea, now expanding globally. From here on, it extended beyond Korea into a global release. Meanwhile, as Kang Woojin was immersed in the final stages of filming for John Persona, Pierrot, the birth of a villain, began its global release as scheduled. This meant audiences in about 40 countries, including Korea, the US, Japan, France, and the United Kingdom, would now see the Joker. Foreign media around the world went wild. Pierrot, the birth of a villain, had already been hugely popular due to its non-stop buzz and headlines since its early days, and since it had detonated a nuclear bomb at the Academy Awards, advance ticket sales were tremendous in any country. CNN/Pierrot, the birth of a villain, hits screens. Audience surge leads to sellouts. Will it break records? Hollywood and the rest of the world turned their attention to Pierrot's performance. With this overwhelming trend and level of attention, it looked set to shatter long-standing box office records. Naturally, Columbia Studios and Kang Woojin had high expectations, and the official announcement of Pierrot's overwhelming success didn't take long. In just 5 days after its release, Pierrot had achieved LA Time/monumental record. Pierrot, the birth of a villain, surpasses $1 billion worldwide in 5 days. BBX/Joker resonates worldwide. Pierrot, the birth of a villain, rakes in over $1 billion in box office success. ABY/$1 billion earned in just 5 days, lands at 15th all-time worldwide. The box office storm of Pierrot, the birth of a villain, is terrifying. It displayed an incredible force by surpassing $1 billion. This figure exceeded what many media outlets had predicted prior to its release, and to achieve that in only 5 days was nothing short of monstrous. Astonishingly, it landed in the top 10 highest-grossing films in Hollywood history in just 5 days. An unbelievable pace. Kang Woojin was so shocked by the result that he nearly fainted. It broke his usually composed persona. $1 billion? How much is $1 billion? What? 1 trillion? 1 trillion won. It was an amount he had never seen in his life. For reference, the total production cost of Pierrot, the birth of a villain, was slightly over $200 million. The film had already recouped its production cost, and far beyond. Even considering how the early days generate the most revenue, $1 billion in 5 days was truly a record-breaking feat. Following that, Pierrot surpassed $1.3 billion on the 7th day. NT/Pierrot, the birth of a villain, surpasses $1.3 billion, climbs to 10th highest-grossing film worldwide. On the 8th day, it reached $1.5 billion, and by the 10th day, it had exceeded $1.6 billion, climbing to 6th place in all-time global box office history. This meant it had earned over 2 trillion won, a sum so staggering that Woojin found the soaring box office numbers more surreal by the day. 2 trillion won? By the time the film had been out for 10 days, Korea had already announced. Pierrot, the birth of a villain, surpasses 10 million viewers in 10 days. Fastest ever. It had surpassed 10 million viewers. While Pierrot was taking over the world, it seemed that wasn't the end. More bullets were being loaded. Beast and the Beauty held its first test screening with the full team, including Kang Woojin and Miley Kara. When Woojin saw the image of Beast on a medium-sized screen, he was overwhelmed with awe. Whoa, damn, the CG quality is insane. The skin-tight suit he had worn for so long had completely vanished. Only Beast and Bella were displayed on screen. Even watching not as the actor who played Beast, but as an audience member full of nostalgia for the original, the live-action version of Beast and the Beauty looked incredibly well-made. After the test screening ended, the room was filled with applause. Clap, 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 clap. It was in recognition of the outstanding quality of Beast and the Beauty, and also praise for the recent explosive success of Pierrot. Miley Kara, who hadn't seen her boyfriend much lately due to their busy schedules, also showed affection. Congratulations, really. I think Pierrot will keep doing well for a long time. Aren't you going to buy me something delicious? Something delicious was just an excuse. She meant she wanted to go on a date. With more than 2 trillion won rolling in, Kang Woojin replied, as if such a request was nothing. Let's go to Korea. Have you ever been to Jeju Island? Once my schedule frees up, I'll cook something delicious at my villa. Are we flying on your private jet? Yeah. Then, by mid-June, as Pierrot entered its 20th day since release, the box office result was staggering. LA Times finally surpassed $2 billion. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, is breaking every record. It had surpassed $2 billion. The fact that this happened in less than a month was almost unbelievable. Soon after, media around the world began listing the records Pierrot had achieved so far. ABY/records achieved by Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, now over $2 billion. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, which swept the Academy Awards, is creating a worldwide box office sensation. The world has fallen for Kang Woojin's Joker, and it's no exaggeration to say Columbia Studios' cinematic universe has been a massive success. The records Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, has set so far are numerous. Currently third in global all-time box office, first in global box office for 2023, fastest to reach $1 billion, fastest to reach $2 billion, highest grossing global opening ever. It was more than enough to become a legend, and Kang Woojin had firmly established himself as a monstrous world star. Around this time, Beast and the Beauty, which had finished its test screening, had to begin serious marketing and fix a release date. However, they had no choice but to delay it slightly. The momentum of Pierrot was simply too powerful. Meanwhile, the movie Guest, which had already begun filming, was moving forward without delays. Kang Woojin, looking forward to working with you. Yes, likewise. Kang Woojin's special cameo shoot also went smoothly. Of course, the arrival of the star caused a frenzy among the 100-plus crew members during the shoot. Meanwhile, Columbia Studios, which had been celebrating nonstop due to Pierrot's legendary success, rushed to produce The Birth of a Hero, which was virtually the second chapter of The Joker. With the opening chapter of its cinematic universe having become a mega-ultra hit, it was a natural step. Eventually. Next up is a story about a movie currently shaking up Hollywood and the world. Yes, it's the film you all know, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain has now surpassed $2.4 billion. This milestone was reached on its 35th day after release. With over $2.4 billion in earnings, Pierrot had exceeded 3 trillion won, and by the time it passed 40 days, it surpassed $2.5 billion. BBX/Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain surpasses $2.5 billion, now ranked second in all-time global box office. It had climbed to second place in all-time global box office history. At this moment, Kang Woojin deeply felt it. 3 trillion won. 3 trillion won? This wasn't just Korean box office success, it was global. The power of what the void space had. Measured as EX+++ grade. But this was only the success related to its theatrical release. Columbia Studios had said it would continue selling to countless platforms after release. In other words, this was only halfway. Wow, seriously, EX+++ grade was really this insane? Thanks to the legendary box office of Pierrot, Kang Woojin's bank account was exploding, and the numbers growing by the second were only the beginning of what was to come. Second week of July. By then, Pierrot had been out for over a month and 2 weeks, and the all-time box office rankings in Korea had already changed. All-time box office in South Korea. All-time movie rankings, combined. -1. Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain / Total Audience. 22,108,419. -2. Leech / Total Audience. 20,483,558. -3. Island of the Missing / Total Audience. 20,321,451. -4. The Eerie Sacrifice of a Stranger / Total Audience. 16,833,712. -5. Sea Battle / Total Audience. 16,715,955. -6. Unstoppable Force / Total Audience. 15,557,118. Kang Woojin had conquered positions 1 through 4. And even at that very moment, Pierrot was still gaining viewers. Naturally, countries like Japan and nearby Asian nations were experiencing a similar phenomenon. As a result, the entire world bestowed upon Woojin a title that symbolized global dominance. LA Times / Kang Woojin, the monstrous genius actor who has achieved something utterly unparalleled across the globe. Of course, it was a sentiment acknowledged by the global public. Only someone like Kang Woojin deserves to be called a true world star. I agree, but isn't Kang Woojin's level of influence way too high a bar for anyone else? My God, a little longer, and Pierrot will reach #1 in worldwide box office. Amazing. Honestly, when Kang Woojin first appeared in Hollywood, I didn't give him much credit. Now you'd have to be crazy to criticize him. Ugh, now I suddenly want to watch Joker again. Gotta go see Pierrot once more. Guys, want to hear something truly scary? After Pierrot, Kang Woojin still has massive films lined up like Beast and The Beauty and John Persona. This year, and next year too. Maybe even the year after that will be Kang Woojin's. Then, around the end of a particularly hot July, Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain once again shocked the world. And Kang Woojin, upon seeing the result, was no different. $2.7 billion, is this right? Wow, what the hell is this? At last, Pierrot had reached $2.7 billion, breaking a record that had stood firm for over a decade. It dethroned a legendary film that had held the top spot for years, and Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain became first place. Seriously, the world's #1. It had risen to become the highest-grossing film of all time worldwide. Chapter 480, Suddenly, 3. End of July, LA. Kang Woojin could be found on a vast set, designed to resemble a city. Wearing a worn-out short-sleeved shirt and jeans, he was in the middle of an action sequence with several men in an alley. Hup, act. With controlled movements and precise strikes, the sturdy men collapsed one after another. The last man, intimidated by Woojin's expressionless face and unusual skills, ran away in a panic. Woojin didn't bother to catch him and instead searched through the pockets of the fallen men, pulling out a cell phone. Kang Woojin made a call to somewhere. Several cameras framed him in their shots. Silence lasted for about 10 seconds. Then, cut. From behind the monitor, the renowned director Danny Landis, wearing round glasses on the tip of his nose, suddenly stood up and shouted. Okay. The moment he shouted, around 100 staff members around them erupted in cheers. Applause broke out as well. Danny Landis, who ran up to Woojin, muttered the reason. You've worked so hard. I intend to pour everything into post-production so your efforts aren't in vain. Woojin. Thank you for your hard work, director. There are still a few steps left, such as ADR recordings, but with today, all scheduled shooting for John Persona is finished. Filming for John Persona, which had started in February, had finally wrapped. The planned crank-up was supposed to be around June, but due to various events involving Kang Woojin, it had been delayed a bit. In any case, now, all that remained for John Persona, Kang Woojin's third Hollywood film, was editing. Soon, Kang Woojin greeted many key staff members starting with director Danny. As always, his poker face was firm, but inside, he let out a sigh of relief. Phew, damn, finally. I can rest now, even if it's just for a bit. At that moment, Woojin. Someone called out to Kang Woojin, who was surrounded by staff. Turning around, He saw the giant Joseph Felton smiling. Had he put on more muscle? His imposing figure stood out thanks to a tight black t-shirt. Holding a stack of papers in one hand, Joseph Felton reached out to shake Woojin's hand. As always, today's footage was the best. It was an honor working with you throughout the filming of John Persona. Woojin felt a bit embarrassed inside, but replied in a low tone as if it were no big deal. Thank you. Joseph Felton, glancing around at the noisy surroundings, said to Woojin, Could I have a moment of your time? About 10 minutes. Yes, that's more than enough. The two headed for Woojin's trailer. A short while later, though Woojin's team members were already in the trailer, Choi Sung-gun quickly picked up on the situation and took the others out. Soon, only Kang Woojin and Joseph Felton remained inside. Joseph was the first to speak. To be honest, I've wanted to propose this to you for a few months, but I knew what your answer would be if there was no script, so I waited until now. Swoosh. Joseph placed the stack of papers he had brought onto the table. The cover had the title John Persona 2 on it. Seeing this, Kang Woojin immediately realized what it was. This is the script for John Persona 2. Handing over the script, Joseph continued with a smile. I mentioned it once during filming, right? John Persona is confirmed as a series, and Universal Movies has plans up to Part 3. Among those, the script for John Persona 2 has now been completed. I see. Of course, Universal Movies, the director, and myself, all of us desperately hope you'll take the lead in John Persona 2. Naturally, for you, Woojin, an audition isn't even a consideration. Every actor in Part 2 will be cast around you after discussing with you. Is that so? Yes. First of all, the conditions we've been considering Joseph. Just as Joseph Felton was energetically about to talk conditions, Kang Woojin indifferently cut him off. Before we talk conditions, I'd like to read the script first. Screw the conditions. If the script is trash, then none of it means anything. Sure, the first one had a great script, but there was always the possibility that John Persona 2 could be garbage. Joseph Felton, as if expecting Woojin's reaction, smiled and nodded. Of course. Then, please feel free to contact me once you've reviewed the script. Understood. With the farewell exchanged, Joseph exited the trailer. Now, only Kang Woojin was left inside. Woojin picked up the script for John Persona 2, placed on the table. As expected, next to the script was a black square. Without much thought, he poked the swirling black square with his index finger. Poke. In an instant, Kang Woojin's world transformed into an endlessly dark void space. Stretching his arms wide, he shed off his persona. Now that I'm in here, might as well take a breather. He walked toward the space where multiple white rectangles floated around. Their number had grown quite a bit. Woojin started reviewing the works other than Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain, which had already claimed the #1 spot worldwide. Wow, they've all improved a lot. The ratings of the other works had risen significantly. 12/script, title, Beast and the Beauty, EX++ grade. 13/script, title, John Persona, EX+ grade. 14/script, title, Guest, EX grade. 15/script, title, Bat, The Birth of a Hero, EX++ grade. Every one of them was EX grade or higher. Naturally, this was thanks to either Kang Woojin's overwhelming reputation or the monstrous success of Pierrot. And finally, the last one, 16/script, title, John Persona 2, EX grade. Just updated, John Persona 2 started out at EX grade. Woojin broke into a wide smile. Nice, this is awesome. At this point, a sudden question came to Woojin's mind. But how long is this void space going to last? He wondered how long this absurd void space would continue to stay with him, though he was prepared for it to vanish someday, if it disappeared too suddenly. Honestly, I'd be quite bummed. By now, the void space felt like a companion that had been with him all this time. And what would happen to his abilities if the void disappeared? Would they stay with him, since they were imprinted on him? Or would they disappear along with the void space? After a brief silence, Woojin looked up and addressed the dark void space. Hey, void space, how long are you going to stick around? Of course, there was no answer. There never had been, so it didn't feel strange. Woojin muttered to himself, wondering what the hell he was doing. And then it happened. Shoo. At the very end of the white rectangles, one that hadn't been there suddenly appeared. It started off translucent, then quickly solidified. Woojin blinked in surprise as he stared at it. What is this? John Persona 2 was supposed to be the last one, but one more white rectangle had been added after it. Woojin furrowed his brows and stepped toward the new white rectangle. The tips of his toes trembled slightly. The unexpected change had caught him off guard. Soon, the content of the new white rectangles came into view. -17/script, title, 1 year later, and the missing 30 minutes. Infinity grade. **, this is a perfect script. 100% reading is available. The rating and phrasing were subtly different. No, not subtly. This was the first time something like this had happened. 1 year later, and the missing 30 minutes? What is this? Still frowning, Woojin poked the white rectangle with his index finger. Immediately, new text was displayed. -17/script, title, 1 year later, and the missing 30 minutes, has been selected. Listing characters available for reading, experiencing. A. Kang Woojin. Seeing his own name, Woojin tilted his head slightly. Me? As if drawn to it, he touched his own name. Soon, a familiar robotic female voice resonated throughout the void space. Preparing for A. Kang Woojin reading. Preparation complete. This is a perfect script. Implementation rate is 100%. Beginning reading. The moment her voice ended, a massive wave of gray engulfed Kang Woojin. How much time had passed? The once muted world around Kang Woojin began to grow noisy again as loud voices echoed in his ears. His darkened vision cleared up as well. Gradually, all of Woojin's senses were coming back. There was a pleasant smell in the air. Familiar scent. A fragrance he often smelled. At that moment, a blonde woman came into view in Woojin's restored sight. She threw her arms around him. Woojin, we did it. Kara? It was unmistakable. The woman who just hugged Kang Woojin was his girlfriend, Miley Kara. The familiar scent was coming from her. More and more people came into Woojin's view. The space, too, was a familiar one. This place, isn't it World Disney Pictures? Surrounding them were Miley Kara, Maria Armas, the cast of Beast and the Beauty, director Bill Rotner, key staff, and executives from World Disney Pictures. Everyone was cheering wildly while watching the screen ahead. Can you believe it? $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. Ha. I knew it. I knew the world would appreciate our Beast and the Beauty, passing $1.5 billion worldwide. Sure, the original story helped, but the real power came from Kang Woojin and Miley. There was some talk at first about the Beast casting, but who cares about that now? It's $1.5 billion, man. Kang Woojin, still held by Kara, turned his gaze. The screen displayed the box office results of Beast and the Beauty. What was this? On closer look, people's clothing seemed quite thick. He himself was wearing a dark denim jacket. It had clearly been summer, but the attire now suggested early winter. That's when Kang Woojin realized. Am I experiencing myself through a reading? Kang Woojin was reading, experiencing, the scenario in which he was the protagonist. Kara, holding him tightly, whispered to him. This means audiences worldwide have acknowledged your Beast. Yeah, looks like it. What's with that reaction? Aren't you happy? I am. Director Bill Rotner shouted with excitement. $1.5 billion. Ranked 8th in global box office history. The surrounding actors applauded. All-time 8th place. Insane. But I guess it's still hard to beat Pierrot, right? Ha. Don't be ridiculous. How could anything beat those monstrous numbers? Everyone was overcome with joy. At this point, Kang Woojin looked again at the screen. The globally highest-grossing films were listed. All-time worldwide box office rankings. 1/Pierrot, The Birth of a Villain $2.8 billion. 8/ Beast and the Beauty $1.5 billion. Two of the world's top-grossing films belonged to Kang Woojin. In that moment, the surroundings started to distort, and suddenly the scene changed. He was at his house in L.A. The sky outside was dark. Just then, from behind the blankly staring Woojin. What are you doing? Standing there like an idiot. A familiar female voice was heard. Turning around, he saw blonde Kara approaching with a smile, and wrapping her arms around his. Let's go in, it's cold. Huh? Why are you surprised? We were supposed to spend today together, remember? You promised to help me pick out a dress for the celebration. A dress? Just then, the surroundings distorted again. Now Woojin was looking down at his phone. Next to him sat ponytailed Choi Sung-gun, whose excited voice could be heard. Great. This means 3 of your films are in the top 10? Woojin. In. Woojin's eyes was a Hollywood article. NT/following Pierrot and Beast and the Beauty. Kang Woojin's John persona surpasses $1.3 billion and enters the all-time worldwide top 10 box office. The scene shifted once more. This time, it was the living room sofa in his LA home. My house. Remote in hand, Kang Woojin was leisurely watching TV, where a foreign news anchor was reporting. The film Guest, starring Miley Cara and Chris Hartnett, and primarily funded by Kang Woojin and his agency BW Entertainment, is continuing its box office success. It remains at number 1, pushing aside other blockbuster competitors with production budgets in the hundreds of millions. Then, from the kitchen, Miley Cara's cheerful voice rang out. You're going to switch to the villa in Korea like you promised, right? Miley Cara, her blonde hair elegantly tied up, approached in comfortable clothes with a smile on her face and nestled onto the sofa where Woojin was seated. I already bought that boat you talked about, so don't you even think about putting it off this time. Not quite sure why, but Kang Woojin lifted Miley Cara in that moment. Unfortunately, his vision began to distort once again, and the scene shifted. This time, it was a familiar filming set. Dozens of cameras and equipment, actors, and hundreds of foreign staff members surrounded him. And there stood director On Jae-bok. Woojin, you ready? As he looked at On Jae-bok's wrinkled face, Woojin glanced down at his outfit. It was the Joker costume. Soon, director On Jae-bok placed a hand on Woojin's shoulder. Let's turn the world upside down with Bat. The birth of a hero, just like we did with Pierrot. Woojin gave a calm nod. Yes, Director Nim. Then director On Jae-bok returned to his position, and hundreds of staff all turned their eyes to Kang Woojin. Soon, director On Jae-bok's signal echoed across the entire set. Action. At the same time, the world blurred again. However, this time, people seemed to freeze while rewinding in motion. Scenes flashed by rapidly. The moment Woojin gave his Best Actor acceptance speech as the Joker, the Emmy Awards, Cannes Film Festival, filming of Leech, The Eerie Sacrifice of a Stranger, Island of the Missing, the Blue Dragon Film Awards, Profiler Hanriang. The script of Kang Woojin's life rewound rapidly. And then, I'm resigning. Back at the design company, Woojin was declaring his resignation. I have organized the tasks I was in charge of so that there will be no problems. I'll stop here. Soon, the image of his toad-faced boss appeared in Woojin's vision. Huh? You're quitting? Suddenly, everything froze. Woojin, experiencing himself, could only wait. There was nothing else he could do. Soon, the frozen world shifted again. This time it wasn't rewinding, but fast-forwarding. Things zoomed by. The studio apartment he'd lived in for a long time, and then his drinking night with best friends appeared. And then, the fast-forward came to a sudden halt. Hey, shit, drink up. Yeah, what's life anyway? Drink up. Hey, Kang Woojin. Damn, are you drunk? Shut up, I'm not drunk. Raise your glasses, you bastards. Clink. Woojin was drunk as hell. Kim Dae-young, Lee Kyung-sung, and Na Hyung-gu appeared in a blur. He felt like throwing up. Dizzy. His brain wasn't functioning properly. He wanted to escape. The air felt suffocating. Woojin staggered to his feet with a heavy sigh. The stench of alcohol was overwhelming. Did it even matter? All Woojin wanted was a breath of cold air. As he stood and moved, his friends shouted at him, asking where he was going. But Woojin simply mumbled something like restroom and stumbled away. His vision was warped and unsteady. Where's the bathroom? The cold breeze was nice, but he had no clue where he was. How far had he walked? Suddenly, something surged inside Woojin. Vomit. He rushed into a random alleyway, grabbed a wall, and threw up everything he had consumed. Ugh, hi. Yui. It was strange. Despite throwing up, his dizziness intensified. The world spun around him. And with it, all the worries he had buried deep below his guts sprang to the surface. He had quit his job. What would he do now? He had acted indifferent in front of his friends, but that was just a facade to avoid damaging their relationships. He was scared, terrified, buried under heavy anxiety. Even while vomiting, tears streamed down Kang Woojin's face. Some of the tears came involuntarily, pushed out along with the retching, but others were born from the fear of what lay ahead. Oh, SNFF, fuck, life really sucks. The past felt hazy. He had done a lot, but everything felt empty now. He had worked hard, lived intensely, focused deeply. He knew he had, and yet, it felt like nothing remained. Vomiting, Kang Woojin slipped and collapsed face down on the ground. Cold. The floor felt cool. If he just closed his eyes like this, maybe everything would feel easier. At that moment, "My child," a grandmotherly voice reached the ears of the collapsed Kang Woojin. It was warm and soothing. "My child, why are you lying face down on the ground in this cold?" Still dizzy, Woojin struggled to lift his head. He saw an elderly woman with her hands behind her back, smiling. Though her face and clothes weren't exactly clear, Woojin somehow managed to get up. But then, ugh, he slipped and collapsed again. In the end, Woojin planted himself on the ground and leaned his back against the building wall. And for some reason, he began to sob. Emotion surged within him. He couldn't explain it, but her voice pierced right through his heart. "Sniff. No, Grandma, I'm sorry. I just feel like shit. I'm sorry, really. Everything's such a mess. I don't know why life isn't working out. It's garbage, life really is." The old woman sat beside the drunken Woojin. "What is so terrible about life? What is so difficult that you drank yourself into such a state?" "It's just that drinking helps me forget, even if only for a little while. I can escape reality for a bit. Who? I just feel like an extra in this world. No one cares even if I get drunk and puke all over the place. I quit my job. At the time, I felt like I looked cool, like I was being bold. But nothing's changed. It's still heavy, it's still scary. I regret it. I should have just stayed, even if it sucked. Maybe then I wouldn't feel so much like an extra. Life's just not fun, dash." The old woman, who had been looking down at the sniffling Kang Woojin, asked quietly, "Would you like it to be fun?" "Of course I would. I want it to be exciting and joyful, not dull and lifeless." "Huh. Sorry, I'm just rambling nonsense. Thank you for listening in this cold weather. Drink this." Suddenly, the old woman handed something to Woojin. "Drink it. It'll help your stomach feel better. And life will get a bit more fun, too." "Huh." Woojin looked up, still dizzy, but it looked somewhat like a hangover cure in a bottle. He bowed his head deeply and gratefully drank it down. "Ah, thank you. But, Grandma, I think I'm getting even dizzier, dash." "My child." Soon, as Kang Woojin's vision blurred, the old woman's kind voice seeped in. "It is not that you exist within the world, but rather that this world is merely the setting for the script that is your life. That's all it is." Her voice, as she stroked Woojin's head, began to fade slightly. "Enjoy it. You are the protagonist, my child." The world, the background, darkened. Then came the familiar robotic female voice, ending the reading experience of a Kang Woojin. Before he knew it, Kang Woojin was back inside the trailer. He slowly looked around. He touched his arm. Everything felt just as it was before he had entered the void space. He checked the time. It was exactly the same. Suddenly, startled, Kang Woojin checked the John Persona 2 script in his hand. More precisely, he looked at the black square stuck to its side. Fortunately, it's still here. The swirling void space still existed in front of its owner, the protagonist. Kang Woojin let out a deep sigh, his smile growing wide. "Yeah, let's just enjoy it like I always do. No backing down." He picked up his phone. The person he called was Joseph Felton, whom he had just met. The ringing didn't last long, and since Joseph had just seen him, he spoke in slight surprise. "Woojin, have you already made your decision?" Smirking, Kang Woojin answered with no backing down. "Yes, I'll do it. The lead role,